Hi everybody, my name is Rupa, working as Assistant Professor in the Chaparral Engineering College in the Department of Electrical and Electronics Engineering. I am dealing the subject renewable energy sources, and today's topic is advantages and disadvantages of the. Today's topic is schemes of electric generation. In that generation, schemes of electric generation, we have already discussed about the two types. First one is constant speed, constant frequency system, and second one is variable speed, constant frequency system. These both are discussed in before classes. Now we have to discuss variable speed, variable frequency systems. So in this sense, we are using resistive before the process. Since resistive heating loads are essentially frequency insensitive, the AC generator, it can be fed with a variable frequency corresponding. So nothing but these change the drive speed. This frequency, variable frequencies corresponds to change the drive speeds. So for this purpose, we are using a capacitor excited, that is self-excited squirrel cage induction machines. Okay, so these squirrel cage induction machines can be conveniently used for this purpose. This is a squirrel cage induction generator, and we are using this for easy process. So such process is shown in this diagram only. So these systems are gaining importance for standalone with wind power applications. The magnitude and the frequency of EMF will be depending upon the value of load impedance and prime mover speed and excitation capacitances. Okay, so the magnitude and frequency of the EMF will be depending upon the three types. What is that? Load impedance, first one, and second one is prime mover speed, and third one is excitation capacitance. Okay, so these are allowed to research on no load and load performance characteristics. Okay, so these are the researches are going on by using no load or load performance characteristics. So computer programs are also being developed in this. And if you vary output voltage, this can be converted to constant DC using choppers. So this is a thyristor converter, chopper or control rectifier. So by using this, the varying output voltage can be converted to constant DC voltage. Okay, so this can be done by choppers or control rectifiers on a constant AC using force commutated inverters. Okay, so this is force commutated inverters. Using these inverters, we can invert the DC into AC. AC converters and transducers, you know that transducers can also be used. So AC converters and transducers can be introduced to monitor the control the desired performance quantities. So this can be introduced to control the performance quantities there. Okay, next one, generator control. So these control schemes which are acting on the generator, these are largely decided upon the type of generator we are using there. Okay, so for permanent magnet, one type will be there. For induction motor, for some type will be there. For DC generators, some type will be like that. So if you see those three types, first one is permanent magnet. So there is here in this permanent magnet there is no readily. Now it's at present there is no availability means of controlling this type of machines directly. Okay, so in order to, if you want to vary the torque which is given by the permanent magnet alternator, the armature current has to be changed first. Okay, so in order to change the torque, armature current should be changed. So if you take in normal operations, the output voltage and frequency, they have to be allowed to vary with the wind speeds in normal operations. This is the controlling systems of generator control of permanent magnet. And if you choose a DC generator, in this we can take shunt or parallel, both are equal. Shunt or parallel field winding type is used. So in this shunt or parallel type, a small variations of the field current is can be achieved by variable resistor which is connected in the field circuit. This varies the terminal voltage. Okay, so if the terminal voltage is varied by a resistance, automatically the power output will also be changed. Okay, so if you choose this type of if you go to this choice of generators and the load resistance, there will be a load resistance. This is a this is maintained between the power and speed characteristics of the generator. So this wind turbine is needed, it can be used for any complicated control schemes. Okay, so using the resistance, we can change the outputs using the resistive circuits which are externally used. We can change the outputs. So for this purpose, for this, it is a good choice for complicated controlling schemes. Okay, and this also allows variable speed operation of the turbine also. At different speeds, the turbine can be worked. And next generator is induction generator. Okay, so in this induction generator, again we are having two types. So actually this induction generator is used to supply power to an isolated load. Okay, so this machine may be power control, this machine may be self-excited by a means of taking a bank of capacitors, means a group of capacitors which are connected to the terminals. So this is termed as bank of capacitors. Okay, next, if you vary this value of capacitance with the terminal voltage, the output frequency of the system can be changed. So if there are two types, first one is wound rotor induction generator and second one is cage rotor induction generator. So first one, wound rotor induction generator, it is used for grid connection applications. Okay, so power control here is how can we control power, means by varying the slip energy of the rotor circuit, we can control the power here. So this also is achieved through a variety of methods. There are variety of methods which can be achieved for this situation. First one is if you vary the rotor resistance, we can control the generating power. So first method is rotor resistance control. Second one is cascading or variable speed slip power recovery schemes. Okay, so this is the second one. We can vary the slip speed and we can control the generators. So this is the second method. These are the two methods which are used in wound rotor induction generator. And coming to the second one, cage rotor induction generators. These are operated over a wide speed range by pole changing or pole amplitude modulating. Okay, so this main pole which is situated there, it is changed or its amplitude is modulated, increase. Okay. So for this, we can achieve 2 or 3 separate speed ratings. Okay. So for by using this, we can attain 2 or 3 separate speed ratings. Next one is synchronous machine power control. This is other type. These first above the induction generators are having two types, wound rotor induction generator and cage rotor induction generator. And coming to the second type of machine, synchronous machine power control, it is achieved by variation of the DC field excitation currents directly. So the frequency of the output voltage, it will be varying with wind speeds for an isolated machine and for fixed for grid connected machines. Okay, so if you isolate the machine from the grid, the frequency can be variable with the wind speed. Means if the wind speed is more, the frequency will be in one hedge. If the wind speed is low, the frequency will be in other hedges. So overall the frequency will be variable for a isolated machines, and it is dependable upon the wind speeds. And coming to the grid connected machine, it is fixed. We cannot change the frequency. Okay, so these are the generator controls using various generators: induction machines, synchronous machines, permanent DC. Okay, so what we are taking, we have discussed the types of generators depending upon the uh, system's capacities, slow, medium, large. So depending upon the system's capacities, these generators are decided, and these generators control is now discussed. Next one is transmission control. So this transmission control means while we are transmitting the power, we have to control it and we have to transmit it in the limits only. Okay, so for this transmitting of power safely, we have to opt a mechanism of transmission control. Okay, so the most effective method of varying the power flow in the transmission link between the generator and its load is by using a silicon control rectifier device. Okay, so this is of the present most effective method for varying the power flow in the transmission lines. So this unit, if you see, there are three types of units. First one is single phase control bridge. So this unit, overall units, these are these three types of units. These employs power electronic devices, nothing but like thyristors. Okay, so you are familiar with thyristors, I think. So these unit employs power electronic devices called thyristors. So these thyristors conduction period, that is conduction period means on off time. Okay, so this on off time, it can be controlled by applying delayed trigger pulses to a gate of each individual thyristors. So for thyristors, gate will be there. If you apply a delayed, means some time lapse trigger pulse to the gate of each individual thyristor, we can control this thyristor's conduction periods, on off periods. So if you on the system, total system will be, the total energy will be transmitted. If you off, the total energy will be stopped without transmission. Okay, so this transmission can be easily controlled by using this power electronic devices called thyristors. And if you apply delayed trigger pulses to the gate of the thyristors, then on and off time conduction periods can be controlled. So some of the arrangements are shown here. This is the first one. So this is a single phase control bridge, only for single phase. And this is a single phase uncontrolled bridge with DC chopper here. Okay, so this is the uncontrolled, the previous is control bridge with DC chopper. And this is both the two single phases only. And this is the last one, C, is three phase fully controlled bridge. Okay, so by applying here for the gate, if you apply on and off, these respective thyristors will get on and these only transmit the power. Okay, so if you want to transmit the power in single phase only, here in three phase, we have to on this thyristor and this one. So a single phase will be transmitted. If you want two phase, these two thyristors should be on. If you want three phase, all the thyristors should be on. So by applying a delayed trigger pulses to the gates of the thyristors, the transmission control is done effectively. So if you use these schemes, these are the smooth control of power in the systems. But beside this advantage, we are having an disadvantage of only one disadvantage we are having. Disadvantage of cost we are having. These are expensive. Because if you want to carry a small current, these values are taken low. So okay, if values are taken low, the cost will be low. But we are dealing with the electrical power generation and we are transmitting large amounts of electrical power. So the ratings of these thyristors will be dependable upon the electric generation and electric transmission. So these will not be in milli or some micro. These will be in kilo or some megawatts. The electric power transmission will be in kilo or sometimes megawatts. So we have to choose these thyristors according to this megawatts. Means the rating capacity of the thyristors will be more if you want to transmit that much amount of electric power. Okay, so if you opt for this high rated thyristors, the expensive uh, these will be more expensive, the cost will be increasing rapidly. So this is the only disadvantage of using this scheme. Okay, so and because as these are connected to the electric lines directly, these should be rated. Means these are having much power to carry normal full load power, plus for a short times overload capacity should also be carried. That means they have to withstand for normal full load power and short time overload capacity power also. Okay, so these are the types of control bridges used for transmission controls. Next one is load control. So this is having a scheme which is employed with switcher load resistors, and these are enabled with stepwise load approximation. Okay, so this stepwise approximation is made to rotational speed characteristics of a wind turbines. So operation within the maximum current loading of the generator, it can be set and it can be using low resistive values selected for a particular wind speed or operation of the turbine. It is held closely to the CP maximum value. So these methods of controls, these are ideally suited for small stand-alone wind turbines. And what are the advantages of using these load controls are, first one is cheap, these are costless, and second one is these are simple and these are effective where the load demand is for resistance heating. Okay, so these are the advantages of load controls. Next, energy storage. So we are using the wind energy and we are generating various applications of, we are transforming this energy into various forms and we are using it. So to transfer the energy that is extracted from the wind turbines, this energy storage will be depending upon the application we are using. So if you use one type of application, suppose if you use the electricity generation, we have to store this energy in the form of batteries or some storage equipments. Suppose if you are using for water pumping or some heat water storage of heat water, this will be in the form of heat energy. Okay, so the application what we are using with this wind energy. The storage will be depending upon the application we are using. So this operation of wind turbine, it is not practically done at very high or very low wind speeds. Consequently, if other sources such as electricity, utility power, or if these are not available, some form of energy storage is required. Okay, so the extracted wind energy from the wind turbines, it has to be stored in some form of energy. Okay, so if the power generation exceeds the demand, means if our demand is low and the energy generation of power is more, definitely this excess energy would be stored by some other means every times. Okay, so excess power will be stored by some means every times. So for WEC machines, wind energy conversion machines of low and intermediate, means medium electric power, battery storage is convenient. Okay, so remember that this battery storage, it is convenient for only low and medium electric generators. Okay, so storage adds flexibility to the use of WECS, and it permits a peak saving and capacity saving as well as fuel savings. Okay, so if you do this storage, it will be flexible only, if it will be good only, but this will be depending upon the storing and capacity saving as well as fuel will be saved. Okay, so if it this but this storage is expensive, and each utility will have to evaluate whether or not to install it. Okay, so but if you go for this unit, if you observe this unit once again, it will be more cost. So storage also depends upon mainly the application. So depending upon the application also, we have to choose the storage. So storage makes it possible to deliver electric load power demand during times when the wind is below normal or non-existent. Okay, so these are used in this type of wind only. If the wind is normal and up to is not up to that extent what we have been operating, or if the wind does not exist, this storage will be more useful. So storage also makes it possible to deliver a short peaks of power, means some short amounts of time the power can be delivered. And other type of storing is we can increase the power demand for short periods. Okay, if any application needs a large voltage or large power for a short time, it can be delivered by using coupling, by using consequently the energy system and the storage systems. Okay, so this type of coupling both the storage system and the energy system, it improves the reliability of the wind electrical system. Okay, so this energy, stored energy, can be used in various forms. This can be changed into multi forms. Example as heat energy or mechanical energy or electrical energy or chemical energy or magnetic energy. Okay, so these are the various varieties of forms energy. Suppose if you take a wind turbine with power outputs of about 20 kilowatts, DC generators can be used to charge the batteries directly. Okay, so this we can use a DC generator directly to charge the battery. And if you take for if you go for higher powers, alternating current generators, AC generators are required for charging the batteries, and the current must be rectified here for battery charging. So AC current cannot be directly charge the battery. This has to be rectified to DC, and This DC current again charges the battery. So the chemical reaction taking place in a cell or battery when it is charged is reversed when the cell is discharged again. Okay, the chemical reaction which is going on in the batteries will be reversed when the battery is discharging energy. Means it is giving some energy outside. Okay, so this is that means this storage of electricity in the battery can be called as chemical energy. Okay, so the charger cell, in the charger cell, electrical energy is stored in the form of chemical energy. This can be recovered as electrical energy when the cell is discharged. This chemical energy can be again used as a electrical energy when cell is discharged. Okay, so direct current from the batteries, these can be utilized to heat water for space heating and for domestic hot water and to operate lights and small tools and appliances also we can use. Okay, so if you want to convert alternating current, conversion into alternating current, if by the use of inverter, it may be necessary for large tools and appliances and for television sets. This is used for large tools and appliances and for television sets and other kinds of energy. Other kinds of energy storage. These are more desirable in agriculture operations. So, for example, if wind energy is used for heating greenhouses or drying crops, it can be stored as heat storage. That nothing but it can be stored as a hot water storage. Okay, so either a direct or alternating current can be used in resistance heaters without the need for batteries. Directly we can use a direct current or alternating current. Okay, so alternatively a mechanical motion produced by the wind turbine, it can be converted directly into the heat by frictional effects such as churning water. Okay, so the mechanical energy which is provided in the wind turbines, it can be directly converted into the heat by frictional effects. Suppose if you take in water power storage or some mechanical storage, a high power aero generators are used with an electric utility. So combined with the electrical utility, we are using aero generators. So this is a favorable situation where the operation of the several wind turbines are connected. So this is nothing but called hydroelectric power plant. Right? So if the total power or wind or hydroelectric are generated, if they exceed the demand, the hydroelectric plant can be shut down temporarily for a limit times. Okay, so this is called as partly shutdown. Okay, so depending upon the storage and usage, if that unit is not used by the application, it can be shut down temporarily. So alternatively, the excess power is used to pump water from an auxiliary reservoir at the bottom of the dam back into the main reservoir. So in this way, we can the overall capacity of the hydroelectric system will be increased. Okay, so if you have excess, if you shut down the overall capacity, that means the overall efficiency will also be increased by using such type of schemes. So another alternative is for possibly storing energy is to storage of energy in a volume of compressed air. Suppose if you take a wind turbine, for example, this can be created with which directly with this is directly pump air. This will be directly pumping air into a suitable pressurized storage tank. Okay, so if you take this energy in the wind turbine, this is directly pumped into the suitable pressured storage tank. Okay, so after pumping, we can store that we can store that suitable pressure in the storage tank, and when the wind is not blowing, the energy stored in the air can be utilized. Or if the wind speed slows down, the energy stored in the air can be utilized. So this can be utilized to drive an air turbine whose shaft will be drive to a generators. So by this we can supply to the by this we can supply this power to the electrical generator. So we can get electrical power when wind is not blowing also. Okay, so wind energy with a DC output power, the power can be fed directly to the electrolyzer tank. This electrolyzer tank will be producing hydrogen and oxygen from ordinary waters. Okay, so this is other type of storing of wind energy. So this is in the this will be in the form of gas or liquid, because the hydrogen and oxygen gases produced can be stored either in a gas or liquid forms, and when needed these can be easily converted again into directly into electrical energy. So this is done. These hydrogen and oxygen are converted again directly into the electrical energy by use of a fuel cell. Okay, so this hydrogen can also be used as a fuel to drive automobiles and other useful engines also. This is one of the most advantageous application we are using this hydrogen gas. This can be used as a fuel to drive automobiles and other useful engines. Okay, so these are the energy storage systems. And now we will see the what are the various applications of this wind energy. So our subject is conformed to only electrical power generation application. So I'm dealing with only electrical power general applications only. There are several types of applications, pumping applications, electrical generating applications, and direct heat applications like that. But we have to consider only electric general applications. First, we will see the applications of wind turbines. So the energy which is extracted from the wind, it is initially energy in the form of rotary, or it is translational, or it is auxiliary mechanical motion we can term. So this mechanical motion can be used to pump fluids, or it can be directly converted to the electricity or heat or fuel. So most effective applications are those that energy is delivered directly to the from the wind without further energy processing or conversion or storage. So this can be effective uh, when the wind energy is directly used by the applications. So if required, wind derived energy can be converted into other forms of energy also, and these can be stored through the use of compressed fluids or pumped hydro systems or water saver systems or batteries or hydrogen or flywheel or hot water. These are the various types of energy, the energy that can be extracted from the wind turbine and that can be stored. Okay, so while we are storing or while we are converting this wind energy into other types of energy, some energy may be lost, some form of energy may be lost, so some amount will be lost. So wind energy, in any case, what are we saw different types of energy storage and conversion systems. In any case of conversion systems, wind energy is one of the most flexible and it is the tractable of all energy sources. Since mechanical energy is derived directly from the wind and it can be readily and effectively converted to other forms of energy. Okay, so this efficiency of converting wind, which is derived from the mechanical energy to heat or electrical energy, it has much more efficient. It is much more efficient. Okay, so the efficiency of converting wind to heat or electricity is having more efficiency. Okay, since while converting from heat to mechanical or heat to electrical energy, these are limited by relatively low Carnot cycle efficiency. Okay, so under optimum conditions also these will not be exceeding 30 to 35%. Okay, so these wind turbine generators, these have been built in a wide range of power outputs from kilowatts or so to few thousand kilowatts. Machines which are having low power, these can generate sufficient electricity for space heating and cooling of homes and for operating domestic applications. Okay, so these are the applications of the machines which are having of low power. These are used for space heating, cooling of homes and for operating domestic appliances. And low power WEC generators have been used for many years for the corrosion protection of buried metal pipelines. Okay, so applications of somewhat more power turbines up to 50 kilowatts are used for operating irrigation pumps, navigational signals. Navigation signals means nothing but lighthouse and buoys, and they can be used for remote communication, relays and weather stations, and for offshore oil drilling platforms also they can be used. So these applications are used by powerful turbines. Means medium turbines. Low are used for domestic purposes, heating and cooling of homes like that. Medium powerful turbines are used for this irrigations, navigation signals, remote communications and relay weather stations and for offshore oil drilling platforms. And aero generators in the intermediate power range. That means these are ranging from 100 to 250 kilowatts. These can supply electricity to isolated populations, means low, which are that is having isolated populations means which are the population which is located on the islands, to form cooperatives. And for small industries also we can use that. Finally, the largest WEC generator with rated powers of few thousand kilowatts. These are planned for interconnections with an electrical utility systems. Okay, so largest WEC generators, these are used for electric utility systems. Okay, so presently we are having a optimum economic diameter of a wind turbine with a two blade propeller type rotor is about 110 meters. Okay, the electric power output is ranging from 2000 to 5000 kilowatts, or it can be termed as 2 to 5 megawatts. Okay, so where we know 1 megawatt is 1000 kilowatts or 1 million watts. So these are the different ranges of the wind turbines for low, for intermediate, for large. How these are used. These are the applications of the wind turbines. Okay, so next topics we will see in next class.